Tune in for some happiness. Tune in for some fun. Tune in late at night or tune in the sun. This is TFM. Get ready to rock. From AM to PM. Come on. Let's talk.
TFM 95.4.
Let's talk.
Live on TFM and the TFM Facebook page. This is the live feed of TTV. Let's talk.
Hello and welcome to the Midday Update. This is the latest update from our newsroom. The Ministry of Health today announced the registration of 8 new coronavirus deaths in Oman. The death toll has now touched 521 in Oman due to the virus so far, the officials at the Ministry of Health informed. They also extended their deepest condolences to the family of the deceased. Officials at the Ministry of Health also announced the registration of 207 new coronavirus cases in the country today. 167 of the new cases are Omani nationals and 40 for non-Omanis, bringing the total number of coronavirus cases registered in the Sultanate to 81,787. According to the Ministry of Health, this number also includes the recovery of 76,124 patients and 521 deaths. The ministry urged everyone to adhere to social distancing instructions issued by the Supreme Committee and the Ministry of Health, as well as staying at home and not going out unnecessary. It's time for a quick commercial break, but stay tuned as we have more updates your way. Welcome back to TTV. You're watching Midday Update. The Royal Oman Police continues to implement the decision of movement ban from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. the next day till 15th August. A statement issued online by the ROP said, the Royal Oman Police continues to implement the decision of the Supreme Committee to deal with the COVID-19 related to preventing movement from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. in the next day till August 15, 2020. The police thanked the citizens and residents for their cooperation and commitment to take preventive measures to limit the spread of the coronavirus during the Eid al-Adha holiday period. The ROP imposed more supervision during the Eid al-Adha holiday to prevent gatherings as part of the efforts made to limit the spread of the coronavirus. The data registered with the General Department of Operations indicated that limited violations were recorded during the last period, the most prominent of which was the lack of commitment to wearing a mask. The Accident Center at the General Department of Operations continues to receive all reports related to violating the decisions of the Supreme Committee and to deal with them in coordination with the competent authorities, the Royal Oman Police said. The body of a missing man has been found at Nabar Port in North Al Batina Governorate, the Public Authority for Civil Defence and Ambulance has informed. A statement issued online by PAGDA said, the water rescue teams at the Civil Defence and Ambulance Department in the North Al Batina Governorate, in cooperation with the Coast Guard Police, managed to find the body of the person who had drowned at Nabar Port in Walayat Liwa. More than 100 Indian nationals in Oman who are flying back home on repatriation flights have been denied from boarding them due to non-payment of fines here in the Sultanate. Expats who haven't paid their fines are given the choice of paying them at the airport. Those who are unable to do so must first clear all their payments, after which they will be accommodated on subsequent flights. Officials at the Embassy of India in Muscat added that fines were not the only reason for some Indians who were required to stay back. Some foreign nationals in the country had other pending matters to resolve, such as manpower issues and court cases that prevented them from flying home. Talking to Times of Oman, an embassy representative said that we had a case where there was an Indian national who had quite a large fine to be cleared, and in this case we helped him because the amount due was over 450 Omani riyals. From each flight, 1 or 2 passengers were asked to deplane because they had not paid their fines. He continued speaking that the number of people who have been stopped from boarding has decreased because word quickly spread that passengers were not being allowed to fly home unless their fines had been declared. On August 1st, 2020, around 17 Indians were held back from boarding their charter plane from Salalah to Delhi, the biggest group of passengers to be denied permission so far. There were 20 people who had not cleared their fines, and 3 of them were able to pay these fines in the airport, said Manpreet Singh, the chairman of the Indian Social Club in Salalah. He continued speaking that the other 17 were unable to do so and so will only be allowed to board once their company pays their fines. Their company is waiting for some money to clear these dues. Singh, who also serves as the Honorary Consul of the Embassy of India in Salalah, added that while the Indian Social Club had stepped in to pay the fines due for some people in extreme cases, it was simply not possible to do so for everyone. Coupons for Eid al-Adha sacrifices were distributed by Darul Atta Association among the needy ones during the family gathering of Eid al-Adha. This annual step of Darul Atta came within its Islamic values program to support needy families and individuals. The total value of the coupons was 20,800 Omani riyals, and 520 families from the governorates of North Al-Batana and Muscat benefited. The program also offers support packages including food items and garments distributed during Eid al-Adha and Eid al-Fitr holidays among the needy families. Darul Atta Association also collects zakat funds from the institutions and individuals and distributes the same to the needy families in all the wilayats of the Sultanate. With the participation of more than 50,000 people, the Ministry of Education carried out a survey for the beginning of academic activities in various educational institutions in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. The survey was opened for public from 7th August 2020 to 9th August. The ministry has received 52,072 answers in total. The ministry said in a statement that within 17 hours of the survey launch, more than 37,000 people responded, and the total respondents are before the survey was closed on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. The ministry added that, Honorable brothers and sisters, thank you for your great response and for your kind cooperation in filling out the questionnaire. Your opinions will be taken to support the decision to be issued regarding the mechanism of operating the next academic year, which is 2020-2021. The questionnaire included 4 alternatives to the method of returning the study, which is mentioned below. Option 1, going to school on a daily basis while reducing student density and taking the necessary health precautions. Option 2, defining classes with educational priority for students to go to school and for the remaining classes to stay at home for online study. Option 3, students staying at home and studying online during the first semester and return to schools during the second semester in case the pandemic is contained. And lastly, the option 4, a combination of students going to school for some days and study online on the other days. Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry has issued a notice regarding the use of tax cards. A statement issued online said that the Oman Chamber of Commerce and Industry brings to the notice of all private sector institutions that the tax authority has issued decision number 27/2020 regarding the handling of tax cards and issuance fees. This indicates that all private sector establishments must submit a copy of the tax card or the valid tax certificate with the required documents when completing the procedures of contracting or dealing or initiating any procedure with any company, institution, branch or foreign company. The decision came into force on July 1st, 2020. The government of India has decided to add new flights to India, which will be departing from Oman in Phase 5 of Vande Bharat mission. In case of any changes in the flight schedule, an announcement will be made subsequently by the Indian Embassy in Oman. As in the case of flights operated earlier under Vande Bharat mission, passenger lists for the Phase 5 flights will be finalized by the Embassy on the basis of information received by it, the Embassy of India in Muscat said in a press release. It further added that the embassy will be floating an online form for seeking confirmation of passengers to travel on a particular flight and then share the list of registered people with Air India. All such people will be contacted by Air India directly for booking of tickets. The release also added that the passengers, after registering on the online form, may also approach Air India offices in Rui and Wataya, which says National Travels General Sales Agent of Air India, directly to book tickets on first case, first served basis. However, priority will be given to medical emergency cases, pregnant women, workers in distress, senior citizens, as well as to other Indian nationals who are stranded in difficult situations. As the press release stated, the cost of tickets will have to be borne by the passengers themselves. All passengers are required to confirm acceptance of all conditions of travel, including quarantine requirements in India, as well as health requirements in order to board the flight. Well, it's time for a quick commercial break, but stay tuned as we'll have Mr. Manpreet Singh joining us from Salalah to talk about the COVID-19 during the time of COVID-19. Welcome back. As I mentioned earlier that we'll have Mr. Manpreet Singh joining us from Salalah, who will be talking about the Khareef season for the first time during the time of COVID-19. So let's welcome Mr. Manpreet Singh, who's the Honorary Consul in Salalah to the Embassy of India, as well as Chairman Indian Social Club in Salalah. Thank you so much, Mr. Manpreet Singh, for joining us.
Thanks to you for having me online.
It's always a pleasure, sir. So, this is the first time that actually the Khareef season actually in Salalah began during the pandemic period. How different was it, sir, this time?
No, definitely it is totally different than the previous years. I am here for the last 23 years. Okay, and this is the first Khareef, we are facing, this COVID situation here. During this Khareef season, lockdown is there, nobody can come in, So during this time, thousands of tourists are coming, from abroad to enjoy. But this Khareef, only locals and expat community in Salalah is only enjoying with the social distancing norms. So with this, I wish to thank, His Majesty Haytham bin Tariq Sultanate of Oman's Sultan for granting 10 million riyals for fight this coronavirus pandemic and leading the nation and Supreme Committee. May Allah give him good health, prosperity and long life.
Ameen. Thank you, Mr. Manpreet. So you just mentioned, Mr. Manpreet, that, this time the Khareef season has been very different and thousands of tourists, not just from within Oman, but from across GCC and outside, as well, travel in. How quiet was the Khareef season for the people of Salalah this time?
No, it is very quiet because only the locals, they are during the weekends. Otherwise, the roadside shops and other things are available. During this time, the Khareef festival is on. There are, for children, there are julas and other, toys, stalls are there. The ladies, they are going and enjoying their shopping at Khareef festival ground. But this time it is all quiet,
Absolutely. Mr. Manpreet, since you are the chairman of the Indian Social Club in Salalah, could you please tell us, sir, what kind of activities has the Indian Social Club in Salalah been carrying during the time of this pandemic?
Yeah, Indian Social Club Oman is the only organization which is approved by the government of Oman under the Ministry of Social Development as far as Indian community is concerned. It's also the only organization which is recognized by the Embassy of India. So during this pandemic, with the help of Embassy of India, we distributed food kits to the needy people. When Vande Bharat mission flight started, we have given our best in coordination with the Embassy of India under the guidance of our ambassador, His Excellency Manu Mahawar, and all the officers in the embassy. Still, we are coordinating, and we have sent chartered flights also to Kerala, Hyderabad, Madurai, Delhi, Now also preparing for 2 flights for Trivandrum and Kannur and Delhi on 14th for Air India, Vande Bharat mission. The other flights what I have said was the Hyderabad, Madurai and Delhi that were sent by the Indian Social Club Salalah. Now 14th Vande Bharat mission, Air India flight is going. And just on 7th, Salalah Kochi flight has gone, Air India under Vande Bharat mission.
Right. Mr. Manpreet Singh, since you're also the Honorary Consul in Salalah to the Embassy of India in Oman, what kind of coordination do you do with the Embassy in Muscat?
Yeah, with the help and advice of our Ambassador, His Excellency Manu Mahavar, and the other officers and staff of the Embassy, all the Embassy-related matters, I am looking, be it the birth and death cases, employment-based problems, attestation of the various documents, or jail-related matters like outpass, etc. I am coordinating with the embassy and local government, especially Ministry of Manpower and ROP. Because embassy is, 1,000 kilometers away, so I am the only person here coordinating as the Honorary Consular Agent for the embassy here in Salalah.
Right. Mr. Manpreet, you already mentioned that, we already mentioned that you're the chairman and also the honorary counsel for the Embassy of India in Salalah. During this time, sir, the coronavirus hit Oman in February, and since then the situation has been quite out of hands. But thanks to the rules and regulations issued by the Supreme Committee and the Ministry of Health, as well as the work rendered by the ROP in this regard to contain the virus lately, has been tremendous. During this period, sir, what kind of concerns or queries have you been receiving from the community members?
From the community, we are receiving the main thing is the people were stranded. Second, in the beginning, they were not having, especially the laborers. Everything was closed. The laborers, they were facing problem for the food. So with the help of the Embassy of India, we distributed the food kits to the needy people. And later on, the stranded people we have sent through Vande Bharat mission and the charter flights back to India.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Manpreet. It's time for a quick commercial break, but stay tuned as we are still in conversation with Mr. Manpreet Singh, who has joined us from Salalah. Hello and welcome back. We are still in conversation with Mr. Manpreet Singh. Before going on a break, I was asking Mr. Manpreet about how the Khareef season had been in Salalah, because right now it's the COVID, we are still in the middle of the COVID pandemic, and a lot of tourists, or in fact all the tourists, have been banned from traveling outside their countries, and there has been a lockdown going on in the Far Governorate, and things have been really strict in terms of going out and moving from one city and one governorate to the other governorate. And Mr. Manpreet Singh just mentioned that this time the Khareef season had been quite very quiet in terms of people. There were no visitors. Even people living in Salalah were just had a specific time where they can actually move about and join this beautiful Khareef season. In terms of the services that Indian Social Club Salalah has been doing, Mr. Manpreet Singh also mentioned about the distribution of food kits and the repatriation flights, and how he's coordinating between the Embassy of India in Muscat and as well as in Salalah. Mr. Manpreet Singh, earlier in the news today, I was reading out the report about the 17 Indian residents who are living in Salalah. They were actually deplaned. They were not allowed to be on board the plane on 1st August, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little more about that incident?
It was on 31st actually, and first the news came. These 17 people were booked for Salalah to Delhi chartered flight organized by the Indian Social Club Salalah. In total, there were 20 people for the same Muscat-based company. It was Muscat-based company named Golden Horizon. So they booked 20 tickets. So at the airport, and we have told while booking the tickets, then please clear the fines before you go to the airport. But they didn't. What they thought, this fine is only, this is, free of cost. They are not charging anything. So it is why when they went there and they told this much of fine, because the fine was removed for the visit visa people, not for the 2 year visa, those who are having the regular visa. So that is why maybe they were confused and they were back, they were not able to board the flight on that day. So now I think they are planning again and hopefully they will go back very soon.
Yes, Mr. Manpreet, what kind of help have been extended through the Indian Social Club in Salalah for the community members in distress currently?
See, as far as all our committee members are concerned, all are together doing a marvelous job here in Salalah for the Indian community. So what I have told you earlier, the food kits we have distributed, the flights we have sent from here, from Salalah to the various places. And we also approached the Ministry of Health for donating the blood, but we have not got, unfortunately, the permission due to the coronavirus pandemic situation here in Salalah. So hopefully very soon when everything will be all right, we'll arrange one blood donation camp as it is required, by the Ministry of Health here locally.
Absolutely.
So as and when it is required, the local organization, other organizations, they are actually giving, time to time. And Indian Social Club Salalah has also planned for that in a big scale.
I'm sure, Mr. Manpreet, that one day you'll be launching this blood donation campaign too in Salalah for the help of the residents and citizens in Oman who are actually in dire need of blood these days. Like Mr. Manpreet Singh mentioned, that it is actually has been appealed by the Ministry of Health that the blood donation is in need right now. So everyone out there, please go out and donate blood as much as possible. Continuing on the conversation with Mr. Manpreet, have people been approaching you asking for help in the clearance of their fines?
Yes, many people who have approached, if they have less fine, we are helping them immediately. But in many cases, fines are very high, from 1,000 to 3,000 Riyal Omani, where we are unable to help, as these days due to the COVID situation, everyone is tight and they are unable to spare money. In many cases, we refer to the Indian Embassy, and on case-to-case basis, help comes from the embassy. And many times we are also approaching here the local government. Whatever help is there with them, they are giving at that time. There is no problem. We are having a very good relation, Oman and India, and local government is helping, everywhere, wherever it is possible, as per the norms and rules and regulation of the Sultanate.
Right. How many how many would you say roughly have approached you since the pandemic in February till now?
And wherever I was able to help, I have helped them. And in many cases, as per the local law, sponsor or the company have to settle the fines. First, we try to convince them to pay the fines. And if they are unable, only then we approach the embassy or the local government to settle the matter.
Right, sir. Why is it not possible, Mr. Manpreet, because a lot of viewers are watching right now, and I'm sure a lot of people expect that when they actually ask for help and they expect that this is going to be solved, if not right away, then later it is going to be solved.
We try to help everyone. But as you said, it's a pandemic time. People are having less business and low income. So when we approach them, they are also unable to help many times. Then we try to call his sponsor or the company to help them. And later, if not possible, then we approach to the embassy, as I have stated.
And Mr. Manpreet, because of the pandemic and because of the situation in the country right now, do you feel, or have you seen, or have you noticed that now a lot of concerns are related to the fines, like people are unable to pay their fines or their dues? And if that is the case, that what kind of advice would you like to give out to the people who have actually neglected in terms of paying their dues?
See, if they are going, to board a flight, so we as and when we are actually meeting them and we are telling them, we are advising them just to tell PRO or to the sponsor to settle your fine even before the flight, going to the ROP immigration and settle the fine there, and it will be very easy to board a flight. Otherwise, many companies, they know that how much is their fine, and their PRO and the sponsors are coming to the airport and clearing their fine there only. So in the last incident of 17 people, otherwise so many flights, so many people have gone, nothing happened. Only for a particular company, because that company was under maybe some pressure. Even last year when Makenu came, that Golden Horizon company, their staff actually stranded due to the Makenu. Their supervisors, they have gone back. They were not having anything to eat. Then with the help of the embassy, we have given 3 days for 300 people food, And then later embassy intervened, and because it was a Muscat company, they have spoken there to the sponsor and other people, and then the matter was solved.
Right, Mr. Manpreet. Mr. Manpreet, I just wanted to ask you, we're getting a lot of questions from our viewers right now. And one is asking if you would have any idea if the quarantine is compulsory in Mumbai, even if they take coronavirus certificate from Oman? Like if they get a certificate saying negative?
If they have the coronavirus certificate, within 96 hours, if they will land over there, then there is no quarantine, as per the new guidelines.
Okay.
Okay, so if otherwise, if they will go there, then definitely as per the local laws, they have to quarantine, as per the local government,
Right.
Different states, different this thing, yeah.
So people who are traveling to India right now, if they get a certificate 96 hours saying that they are negative, and of course it's negative, so they don't have to be in quarantine when they're in India.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for answering to that question. One more is also asking if you have any idea about the expenses if you are in quarantine in India. Does it mean that they have to be quarantined, they have to stay in quarantine at their home, or do they have to stay at a hotel?
That depends on the local government, and how you approach. Suppose you are a family, and if you are requesting them, you have children along with you. Many times it happens, the people we have charged here, from the people, those who have gone to Hyderabad, but they have requested and they had given home quarantine, although they have given the money for the, staying in a hotel. So they opted to go home instead of going to the hotel for quarantine.
Okay. So the decision lies with the person or the
with
authority?
the person or at the airport, yes.
Okay.
They can take decision, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering to those two questions, Mr. Manpreet. Moving on. This is the time where everyone needs to come together to work towards, reducing the spread of the coronavirus. How important do you think is the unity at this point of time?
The unity here, unity is universe, wherever unity is there, everything is all right. So here in Salalah, as far as Salalah and Oman is concerned, under the leadership of His Majesty Haitham bin Tariq, Oman is doing very well. All the expat community are very fine. They are same, rules and regulation applies to the expat community, what the local people they are enjoying. And I think this time even our Indian community, they are together for any of the problem. Any problem we face, all the community come together and we solve the matter here in Salalah. So be it, paying fine for the people or helping the people or giving the free tickets to the people. So all the communities together here,
Yes, Mr. Manpreet. My last question to you, sir. What one advice or what kind of advice would you like to give out to the viewers right now who would actually like to help people? How can they start? What is required from their end to start, helping out people and helping contain the spread of the virus as well?
See, for helping, you don't need anybody's help also. When you are there in the society, there are many people, stranded people, those who wish to go back, but they don't have money to go back. The sponsors, they are not helping to go back. So they can sponsor some amount or the other, or they can approach me. We can, together, we can do it, anybody want to help anybody and the fine is more or something else is there. So we also can join them and we can see how best we can help And if required, embassy is always there to help us. Our
Thank-
ambassador is always 24/7. Anytime when we are approaching, he is always there to help us.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manpreet Singh, once again for joining us in today's episode. It was indeed a very informative session with you, sir, and thank you for answering all the questions by the viewers as well.
Thank you very much. And at the last, I wish to thank our ambassador, His Excellency Shri Manu Mahawar, for doing the wonderful job. Besides their normal duties, due to the stranded, thousands of people have gone back, and the officers, the staff, Mr. Rakesh Adlakha, the DCM, they are doing, day and night duty to send these people back. Maybe thousands of people have gone back, and already the fifth phase of the Vande Bharat mission is in progress, and the new list also have come till month end. Many flights are there from Muscat to different destinations in India. So I thank our ambassador once again for doing this wonderful job here in Oman. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manpreet Singh, for joining us. And of course, hats off to the Embassy of India and other authorities in the country who are doing an incredible job in helping their community members with repatriation flights, with food kits, with any kind of help that is needed in the time of this pandemic. So hats off to each and everyone out there. Stay tuned. We're going to wrap our show for today. We'll be back again tomorrow with our show outline. Watch out for tomorrow's show because we'll be talking about the aftermath and the tragedy that has hit Lebanon. Stay tuned and keep watching TTV.
You've just heard the live feed from the